today we're going to go ahead and scan one of our images and then go ahead and place it into Photoshop. In doing this, first thing you want to do is to make sure that your scanner is on. So just make sure your scanner button is on here. And this is for the Canon 880 scanner. And the next thing that you want to do, and you want to also make sure that it's connected. And once you've done that, I'm going to go to the hard drive, go to the applications file, and I'm going to go ahead and look for image capture, which is right here. I'm going to click on image capture, and then I'm going to double click on it. And at this point, then what I'm going to do is to take my image, place it face down inside the scanner. And the other thing I want to do is, prior to scanning, I want to make sure that I'm sending my image to the scratch disk file. So you can see you have a variety of different options, and I chose Other initially and then found the scratch disk, so that I know that whatever I'm scanning is going directly into the scratch disk. At this point, then I'm going to push Scan. At this point, my image is scanned, and I can either go ahead and close it, or if I want, I can open up the scratch disk, and you'll see that here's my image right here. Right here, there's my image. And so I know that it's been saved to that. At this point also, if I wanted to rename my image, I could go ahead and do that. In order for me now to use this image in Photoshop, what I need to do is to place it into Photoshop. So unless my Photoshop icon isn't on the dock already, then what I would do is to go ahead and to find Photoshop, which is over here, and click on it so that it would then open up and show up on the dock. In order to keep the images that you scanned, please realize that once they're on the scratch disk, there is the chance that the scratch disk will be emptied and you'll lose your images. So what you may want to do is just to create a folder of your scanned images. So you can just, highlight your desktop, or make sure that you're on your desktop, and just add a new folder, which is right here. You can title it, scanned images. And then open up your scratch disk, and you can then go ahead and drag your image to your scanned images file, so that when you open that up, you always know that the images you spent the time scanning will be there and available for you to be used. So it's just an extra little helpful way to save some of your images without fear of them getting deleted. As this is the start of an image for me, I'm going to go ahead and make a new image. So I'm going to click on Photoshop and go to the top menu and go to New. And at this point, I can put the name of my image if I want. Because this is a small image, I'm keeping the size pretty small, so it's 5 by 7. Also make sure that you have it in inches, because your other options could be pixels and points and columns, but we want it to be in inches. The other thing that you want to do is always make sure that the resolution is at least 300. So what I'm going to do is push OK. And now I have a new blank image. And what I want to do is to place my recently scanned image into this new image. So I'm going to File. I'm going to go to Place. And all of a sudden, I can see different options that are available to me. Remember that I saved it on the scratch disk, and the name of it was Scan1 JPEG. So I'm just going to go ahead and do Place. And now my image will show up. You'll notice that there's an X across the middle of my image, which shows that the image is there, but it's not necessarily placed onto the background. And so, because my image is a bit cockeyed, I'm going to try and straighten it out. And the other thing, if I really want to get it straight, I can include rulers, so that then I can sort of see, and if I want to drag down these little guidelines, I can make sure that it is really parallel. You'll notice also at this point that I have little dots that are on all the corners and the sides of my image, so that if I wanted to scale my image, I can do that. If I want to keep everything in proportion, what I'm going to do is just hold down the Shift key here, and I can make my image bigger if I choose. If I wanted to rotate my image at this point, instead of going to Image and Rotate, where you'd see that none of the options are available to me, I could go down to Transform, and then if I wanted to, let's say, rotate it clockwise 90 degrees, I could just switch it that way. As it was straight up to begin with, I'm just going to leave it like this. Now what I want to do is to go ahead and to place my image. And so what I'll do is just click on one of the tools on the sidebar there and push place. The other option is that you'll see that there's a small rectangle here which shows that the image needs to be rasterized. So what I'm going to do with the brush tool still highlighted is just click on it, which all of a sudden now I'm rasterizing my smart object and have created a second layer to my new image. At this point, if I wanted to add other scanned images, or if I wanted to draw on top of it, I could create a new layer, and then using my brush tool I could go ahead and start making lines that went around it, start drawing on it, realizing that this is all on a separate layer. It's not on the same layer as my scan is. So I now have placed my image. It's part of my new drawing, and I'm ready to start building upon it to create a more complicated image.